There are many forms of practice in many traditions of Buddhism and Zen. Periods of seated meditation will vary in length, as will the number of periods on any given day. How they are laid out and interspersed with activities like walking meditation and chanting will vary depending on the tradition and the particular center or sangha that you choose to practice with. What we will offer in this video is instruction in the basic form, consistent with an evening practice session at the Victoria Zen Center. While local forms may differ in many ways, we feel that familiarity with our basic form will prepare you specifically for practice with the Victoria Zen Center, as well as providing a general foundation in formal practice that will serve you well in any community you wish to engage with. When it comes to variation in form, please remember that there is no absolute right or wrong. Harmonious function is the first rule. Therefore, when you find a difference in form between your own practice and local custom, always defer and manifest harmoniously with the sangha you are practicing with. Having found your way to your seat in the Zendo or meditation hall, and taken up your posture for meditation, simply practice zazen, quietly, until the jikijutsu begins the practice session by striking the bell. The jikijutsu rises from their seat, taking up incense, and proceeds to the front of the bowing mat. Proceeding around the bowing mat, on behalf of the whole community that has gathered, the jikijutsu offers incense on the butsudan, or shrine table. Retreats around the bowing mat, and makes sampai, or 3 great bows. In Zen, when we make great bows, we are not belittling ourselves and holding up another as greater or more powerful than us. We are not worshipping graven images or groveling. Most often we face an image of a Buddha or Bodhisattva, and in bowing we allow the idea that we are separate to drop away or dissolve. The Buddha image is a physical representation of awakening. The word Buddha means the one who is awake. Bodhisattvas are physical representations of specific virtues such as compassion, wisdom, or awakened activity. These virtues do not exist outside of us. Awakening does not manifest outside of this life. And so in making great bows, we let go of the idea that we are separate from Buddhas or Bodhisattvas and affirm that we are one. Returning to their seat, the jikijutsu sounds the clappers twice and sits. All participants should take out their chant books and turn to the Heart of Perfect Wisdom Sutra. Please be sure when holding your chant book to hold it up high in front of you so that correct posture can be maintained. If your chant book is too low, your head and back will sag, your abdomen and breath will be constricted, and it will be much more difficult to chant. When everyone is settled, the jikijutsu will signal the end of the transition with 1 clap and 1 bell. Chanting generally begins at a slow pace and accelerates to a fairly brisk tempo. Once the chanting is finished, please put your chant book away under your zabuton or sitting mat. Be careful not to fold or damage the chant book, and ensure that once away, no part of it is visible to others in the Zendo. Take up your posture for zazen and prepare for the first period to begin. The Jikijitsu begins the first period of zazen by sounding the bell 3 times. When practicing zazen in the Zendo, you are asked to remain still and quiet. Please do not shift about or adjust your posture. Do not scratch that itch, fix your hair, or wipe your nose. Do not sniff, snort, or sigh noisily, and do not yawn with an open mouth. If you must cough, please cough into your own sleeve. In short, please be aware of the impact your movement and conduct has on your mind and on the minds of those you are practicing with. The mind and body are intimately connected. They are one. Allowing the body to be quiet and still provides the environment for the mind to also come to rest. All of this aside, Zen is not about masochism. So if you experience significant pain or discomfort, if you feel like something is going to require amputation if it isn't adjusted immediately, please do so. But if you do, please do so in the most direct manner possible and resume zazen. Don't think that by moving slowly and quietly you will be sparing your neighbors the disturbance. They are also practicing awareness, and they will know. So if you must move, just do it and get back to zazen. The Jikijitsu ends the period by sounding the bell once and then striking the clappers. At the sound of the clappers, bring your hands together palm to palm in gasho, bow, and stand up in front of your seat. If your leg or foot is asleep, or if you feel that it may be unsafe to stand, please do not stand up. Rearrange your legs so that the sensation can return, and when you feel it is safe to do so, you can join the walking meditation line in your spot between your 2 neighbors. Standing in front of your seat with your hands in gasho, the Jikijitsu claps once to begin kinhin, walking meditation. Bow and turn to face the front of the line, moving your hands into sashu, the right hand flat on the abdomen with the left hand covering it. Walk in step with the person in front of you and stay close behind them. Kinhin is usually practiced for between 5 and 10 minutes. Allow yourself to dissolve into the activity of walking together with everyone and manifest harmoniously. To end the walking meditation, the Jikijitsu claps once, and everyone brings their hands into Gasho as we return to the Zendo. When walking as a group, only the Jikijitsu bows as we enter the Zendo. The rest of the line enters with hands in Gasho, like one long, many-legged dragon, only the head bows. We stop when we reach our seats and turn to face out, with our hands still in Gasho. The Jikijitsu sounds the bell once. We bow and sit, resuming our posture for zazen. The Jikijitsu begins the second period of zazen by sounding the bell 3 times. The second period of zazen ends just as the first did, with a single bell and 1 clap, which begins kinhin. The third period of zazen begins just as the second did, with 3 bells. At the end of the third period, the Jikijitsu rings the bell once, but does not clap, so we remain seated in zazen. The Jikijitsu rises, offers incense at the Butsudan, and makes 3 great bows. As the Jikijitsu returns to their seat, we take out our chant books and chant the final instruction of Daito Kokushi. When we are finished, we put our chant books away. The Jikijitsu rings one bell and then two bells. We bow and stand at our seats with our hands in gasho as the Jikijitsu rolls on the bell. The Jikijitsu rings and we all do a great bow together. We stand back up with our hands in gasho when the bell is muted. The Jikijitsu rings a second time, and we all do a great bow. Again, we stand when the bell is muted. The Jikijitsu rings twice to mark the third and final great bow. We stand when the bell is muted. The Jikijitsu rings the bell slowly 3 times, and we all do a standing bow together. We remain standing with our hands in gasho while the Jikijitsu straightens their cushions, extinguishes the candle, bows, and exits the Zendo. Once the Jikijitsu has left the Zendo, we bow together, straighten our own cushions, and exit the Zendo. Please do not talk until you have exited the Zendo.